Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Tech Talk. Fuck! No, we're not Tech Talks anymore, are we, boys?
How dare you, sir?
I know.
How
We don't
dare
say that
you?
name here anymore.
Welcome to Nerdz Discuss with me. As always, I've been DJ Costa, no rebrand there. We've also got over to this side of me, up on the live stream, we have the one and only Redneck Alcatraz. Hello, boys.
No rebrand here either. I ain't changed my name in 15 years. I ain't starting now.
And then the one scared person that we've got just down here that looks really, really terrified to be here.
Sinking lower in that chair.
That is the one and only Apocalyptic. I'm assuming no rebrand there either.
Hello, no rebrand either, no. Same name since I was like 15. That ain't going to change
Well,
anytime
you're probably
soon.
wishing you could put that green screen in front of you.
Yeah. Can that just come in front of me? I'm gone.
Yikes.
Curtains down.
So we've got a few things that we want to discuss in this episode. One of which is, yes, we have rebranded. And we're back, yes. Woo! Woo! Let's get a round of applause, boys.
We're alive.
Yes.
We're back. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're back. We've decided to rebrand as Nerdz Discuss. When we were having a discussion about things, we felt Tech Talks really wasn't the right name for us anymore. We talk about all sorts of different things, technology being one of them, gaming. We've done discussions on D&D and other electronic things as well. So, Tech Talks didn't really feel like the right name for us, but we're all nerds. We all discuss things. So what better than Nerdz Discuss? With a Z, because, we're hipsters.
We're nerds and we're gamers, so we got to include that in there a little bit.
Coming up in today's episode, we've got a quick recap and just looking back on CES 2023. If you don't know what the CES is, it's the Consumer Electronics Show, usually held in Las Vegas every January. It's where big tech companies come in and display what new? What new? Yeah, what new in tech world?
New?
What new?
That's
there's been a
literally
lot
how
of
to open it.
stuff.
We're also going to be taking a brief discussion on Hogwarts Legacy, whether or not we think it's worth buying the game or not. We're going to have a quick discussion on the whole debacle surrounding social media and Hogwarts Legacy. There are going to be controversial opinions, so no hate, please. We're also going to take a quick look into ChatGPT as well, because I know ChatGPT has it became big in December, but I think it's definitely worth giving that a mention and having a quick discussion as well. And also big tech company layoffs. So I guess we'll start this episode with CES. CES happened back in January. I say back in January, like we're already in February. Bloody hell! I'm thinking too far ahead. It happened early January, so around the 9th, 10th of January. They normally, display the biggest and newest tech. We're going to start off with APOC. I set APOC on a little bit of a task. I didn't tell Redneck because I think Redneck, considering he woke up late, wouldn't have had time to do any research or look it up, but he can have a look now if he wants.
Said something to me a day or a week ago.
It was a last minute thing. I literally thought of it when APOC messaged me going, "Hey, yeah, what time are we getting together?"
Yeah, literally like 3 hours before this. He was just like, "Hey, do this quick research for me." I was like, "Thanks."
Fair, yeah, I did legit wake up like 2 hours ago, so.
I've been awake since 8:30 a.m. because of work. I've been living. I'm living off.
Yeah, but you're also on British time.
Fridge time.
British time, not fridge time.
Oh, I thought you said fridge time. I was like, what the fuck, dude? No, not dude. We're no longer affiliated with Dude Video.
We don't say that name here either.
But yeah, APOC. Given what
I will say French fries if I want.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, APOC, considering what task I sent you on, what was your looking at the tech? Because nobody will know, but I set APOC on a tester. Have a look at CES Tech and pick a couple of items that really did take his interest. So APOC, I just want you to tell us what those techs are, what they do, any cool tidbits, information about them, and I guess I'll shut up because I've spoken all I need to this episode now.
Yeah, you're never gonna speak again now throughout this episode. We don't want to hear one peep from you.
No, it's more like we're gonna never get him to shut up.
I know, right?
I'm not
Yes.
here.
but yes, I did a quick little whatever research I could within the time frame for some CES. I was just googling what new in the industry, what new in the tech departments are coming out, and yeah, just a few things that came up. And one that I saw was quite interesting was that Samsung have released the talk about a 8K TV. I still don't know. I haven't really seen anything much about 4K in the aspect of like I've never even experienced one, and now they're coming out with an 8K TV.
I mean, there's not even, I think, a whole lot of games that can even take advantage of the 4K
Exactly.
like to its capacity, much less the fact we're coming out with an 8.
Yep.
I mean, I get tech is advancing, and if you got to the point you can do it, you might as well do it. But what are you gonna do with an 8K TV? Most stuff is not even streamed past HD, so it's like you've got all this capacity, itty bitty usage.
So I have a 4K TV. In fact, we have two in the house. We have one in the living room, one in my bedroom. 4K is great for content streamed from Netflix and YouTube content that is streamed at 4K. It does make a massive difference compared to 1080p on bigger displays like a television. It makes no sense for monitors. 4K monitors for PCs have always been a thing. I don't see the point unless you've got like a 43-inch monitor on your fucking desk and you're sat back in it like you would be in the bed. There is literally no point. The pixel density of 1080p, I've got a 27-inch 1080p monitor on my left, and that is a perfect size for me on my desk. Like
I'm running a pair of 20.
It really doesn't bother me. Like, why?
And here's the main reason why it doesn't make sense for gaming, because let's be honest, most gamers, like especially like you'll see like these like hardcore whatever gamers, you'll see that they'll be sat playing the game and their screen will be here.
I mean, a lot of them, yeah.
So it's like
you should see me on my stream when someone redeems the thing, take the glasses off, and I have to do this.
Yeah, but he's not holding on.
Hi, Tech Talks. Nerdz Discuss. I play video games. How are you?
Like literally, I don't get how people play. Like, fair enough if that's your play style, but like so many videos I see of like these people playing it like on stream or like at a tournament, and they're literally like they've got like a 24 whatever inch, 32 inch whatever screen, but all they can see is this little bit because they're so far into the screen. It's just like, how does that help? I don't know.
With that super dynamic eye vision that they're running a screen that's the size of their desk,
all the way over
and they
here.
see all the details, and it's like
it makes sense for viewing. Like in terms of 4K, it makes sense in terms of like video quality, watching TV like from a distance.
If the quality of the thing being streamed is sufficient for 4K.
Oh,
there
yeah,
are things
absolutely.
Streamed that are not, that you put on a 4K, and
it's like 4K content from Netflix, from YouTube, etc.
Yeah.
Like if they're shot at a high enough resolution and the content supports it, by all means, 4K is the way to go. Most of the content I enjoy on my TV is 4K because I have Netflix, I have Amazon Prime, I have Disney Plus. A lot of that all supports 4K streaming. And that's the only time that I ever really get any use out of it. But I'll be honest with you, the only reason why I got a 4K TV was because, and I will say this now, it was just cheap. I got mine for 350 quid, okay? I was looking at a TV of the same size at 1080p, and it was like nearly 400 quid. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the cheaper one, but also a future-proofing for 4K content in the future.
Okay, at that point, it makes sense. If the 4K is literally cheaper than a conventional, fine, go for it.
Yes. Also, no, Gabs, I was not adding you.
No, I don't think any of us tagged you, Gabs. Some of us are just blind as hell.
Nobody added you, Gabs.
We know you don't have very good glasses,
Not
but
yet,
you
but
don't
welcome to the
you,
show.
you don't sit with this far a distance from the screen. You're like that. There's a difference.
You're like that, only a little tiny bit further out.
Yeah. They can see this part of the screen. She can see this part of the screen.
Yikes.
Man,
She
I
can
take
see,
my
like-
glasses off, my visibility distance becomes this.
Oof.
So
It's
you've
like
got.
6
So
inches,
you said
maybe.
about the 8K TV. What was so special about this? Because 8K TVs have been showcased at CES before in the past.
I mean, I don't pay attention to CES, so this is the first I heard of it. So that's what caught my interest. Like, oh, 8K. Also, hey, we can buy some viewers. Oh, never mind.
Can we not mention them? If they come up, just don't mention them. Jesus.
Jesus.
I didn't even see the
But
post. I don't know what it was.
that's literally the only reason. Just because I was like, oh, 8K.
did
This
see
is the
some
first I've heard
stuff
of it.
I did see some stuff that came out at CES about a bunch of new smart devices for your house, and I'm like, oh god, this is continuing.
Oh, the smart home is incredibly. It gets bigger and bigger every fucking year.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, they added. I just had the article up. It was something about smart lighting and some other stuff.
So when we go back to like CES
I don't have it
2015,
open.
2014, like smart lighting was starting to become like massive at CES. Like Philips was showing off their Philips Hue
Yeah.
system.
Well, I saw something like a
Nanoleaf were
mixer
coming out
also.
with theirs. Like even Razer with their showcasing Razer Chroma. Like it was huge at the time.
I know, but I could also swear I saw something about a smart mixer.
Yeah, and then as
Like
things have
blender
gone
mixer.
on,
I'm like,
if it exists, people are trying to smartify it. Like there are smart coffee percolators now. There's smart kettles, smart fridges, the bloody smart sinks now. I know a lot of new builds in America are getting smart sinks where you can be like, hey, nondescript helpful assistant that's not actually very helpful. Pour me I don't know, 3 fluid ounces of hot water and it'll dispense it from the tap. Like it's useful, but it's fucking dumb.
It's lazy.
it's only useful if you have things. 1, reliable internet. 2, sufficient network security. Somebody can't hack it and start pranking your butt with everything they've got. And technically 3, you know what happens if you have a smart sink and you lose electricity? Sink don't work.
Actually, no. So a lot of these devices, it's like smart bulbs as well. They've got a de facto state, so you can use them in a manual mode. So with sinks, they do have like an actual tap on off, so you can actually use it as a manual tap.
They're gonna get rid of that.
Eventually, yeah, eventually they'll get rid of it. But I know that a lot of people that creating these smart devices are like, hey, we want to make sure that these robots don't actually, do the uprising and start over flooding our kitchens and shit. So we're gonna
like
put
on
a
smart
safety cutoff.
stove where you can reprogram it and turn it into a bomb.
Oh yeah.
Well, not just
Their default putting in homes.
That's step 1 of taking over the world. Day 1,
Right?
we're gonna flood their kitchens. Day 2, we'll take over the world.
I mean, all you gotta do is hack a smart fridge, turn the cold off, like purge the cold completely, and set it for defrost.
Yeah. The one thing that really gets me is these smart fridges. Now, some people would assume, oh yeah, smart fridge. Do you know what? I could actually ask Gabs in chat right now. Gabs, what if I said a smart fridge? What would you think that would entail?
A fridge that can do my maths homework for me.
Fridge that can do my maths homework for me. I love it. But no, seriously, like, how would it function? Like, how would you expect a smart fridge to function?
The only things that I know of a smart fridge is that, it's got a fucking screen that you can, access the internet on. I'm just like, why do you want to go on the internet? Why?
That's what I mean. It's stupid.
Yeah,
Step 1, flood the kitchen. Step 2, take over the world. 3, profit.
That's a good cost game.
I mean, if you take over the world, you don't need to worry about profit because you control everything.
Yeah,
a fridge that is very bougie. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not wrong. But it's just like you're going to the fridge for a snack or to collect food. Why do you need to go on the internet? Like, I get it. there's one argument I could think of. It's like, oh, well, if you're
it will
prepping
also
food,
give you alerts your phone, like, hey, your air filter needs changing. Your water
that
Things
makes
like
sense.
that I
That
would
makes sense.
understand because
only
it's
way
like we have technically a classified smart tumble dryer because basically we can use our phones to basically start the cycle and then we'll get an alert on our phone
Wow,
basically
Gabs.
having a
Wow.
go.
Gabs, you're not wrong, Gabs.
You're
You're
not
not
wrong.
wrong.
The only thing that I could see justified of having like that screen that can access the internet while on a fridge is like, if you don't, for some reason you don't have a smartphone or a tablet, and you're prepping a
You can
meal
watch
and you
porn
want,
while making your kids a
No.
sandwich for school.
No, you
Watch
can
a
have
show
the
where you're cooking.
you know, well, yeah, that as well. But that, again, that's just that you don't really need it. But for cooking, it's like, I don't know, if you don't have like a smartphone or whatever for whatever reason, or a tablet, it's like you can have either a video up that shows you how to cook it, or you can have like the recipe up. That's the only two things I could think. Oh, that could be useful, and it doesn't come down the stupid.
Except for the
That
fact
could be
a
useful.
video on your fridge is counterintuitive because think about how a kitchen is laid out. Where are your normal work surfaces versus the fridge?
I mean,
was
yeah,
gonna
it's
say,
not
in
going
my
to be anywhere
house-
near.
I was
Doesn't
gonna say, in
work.
my house, it's going to be pretty much useless because our fridge is under the stairs and there's a fucking wooden door between us and the fridge. I'm not going to be able to watch that video while I'm cooking things.
Just
put
take
it-
the door off.
I mean, APOC, you would have to find somewhere pretty special to be able to fit that within because you've got a table and your chairs that are right next to your fridge.
I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a gap. I mean, it could work. Like I said, like what would solve yours and my problem is just hope that it's I need to listen more than watch video and just make sure it's cranked up.
Yeah,
Let's
pretty
be
much.
honest. When you're watching a how-to for cooking, you need to see what's going on. It's not.
I mean, you do.
So it doesn't work.
I still love Gabs' thing. You can watch adult content on your fridge. You can watch porn while making your children sandwiches for school. Next thing you know, your fridge will microwave your food. Oh, give it time.
The fridge will not microwave the food. The fridge will know what food you just took out. It will tell the microwave, hey, you're getting a cold potato set for cooking cold potato. And it will set all the settings and the timer. You put it in, you close the door, it'll sense potato is in. Start. You won't have to push a button.
Not a single button. It's going to be cool. It's definitely going to be helpful in the future. It's just the way that people are doing a lot of these things. They're just adding useless features to these things.
I mean, really, it's down to what I said earlier. Like, it's basically laziness. It's like stuff that we don't really need. You don't need a smart fridge, or you don't need a smart sink. Because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, what was the most dumbest and laziest invention I could think of? And the main thing I could think of was a self-stirring cup. I'm sure there's more stupid and more lazy inventions out there. But I hadn't heard of that one. I was just like, why does somebody need a self-stirring cup? It literally takes like 20 seconds, not even that. You just pick up the spoon.
Imagine your sink calling you daddy.
And then boom, you're done. It's like, why?
Honestly, it's stupid. Like the thing is, the products have got good ideas behind them. Like, the products aren't stupid. It's the features that they embed in those products that are stupid. It's like the fridge. Why the fuck would you want Angry Birds on it? But for example, having like, I don't know.
Angry Birds is not the thing that comes to mind that you would put on
I don't know.
there.
A screen on it that basically you set it so that you've got certain products on there, and when you take it out and it's empty, it automatically sends you an alert or puts an alert on the fridge, or even like a to-do list, and it automatically tells you, hey, you're out of milk, and it automatically adds it to your shopping list. Because I'm not being funny.
You shouldn't need that. You should be able to look and go, oh, I have half a thing of milk left. I'm going to need more.
The thing is, I think this is going to be useful for like family houses where the kids will go in and use the last of something and not tell you. And then you're on the way home from work, you've been to the shop, and it's like, well, I could have been told that we needed fucking milk.
I've also checked that morning and known it was low. I mean, properly paying attention to all of it, you shouldn't need that.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, the aspect of a smart device should be, it is there to try and make your life a little bit easier, to help you remember things that you might otherwise forget. And those sorts of features are great. But I'm not being funny. Who the fuck wants to play Angry Birds or fucking Doodle Jump while they're making the fucking evening meal?
No. Here's this true standard. Can you play Doom on it?
Probably. Let's face it. I mean, you can play Doom on a fucking pregnancy test. I'm sure you can play it on the fucking fridge.
Now, there is one and the most laziest feature of a smart fridge that I can happily get behind.
I'm intrigued.
The fridge that comes to you.
Yes. The robot fridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need a
agree with
beer. Rolls up.
Yeah.
Dispense
that.
beer.
You're in a heated game, on Apex or whatever you want to play, and you're in the middle of it. And it's like, oh, I could really do with a beer right now. Your wife's too busy, doing some laundry for you or making you a sandwich, so she can't bring you a beer. So it's just like, I'll just get the fridge to come to me.
Gabs is like, Doom on a pregnancy test. Yeah, I'm actually being serious.
The funniest fact is
Someone actually did put Doom on a pregnancy test and proved that they could run Doom on a pregnancy test.
They tried to outdo
all sorts of stuff.
They tried to outdo the guy that did the calculator.
Yeah, the calculator. One guy did it on an e-ink display.
Doom on the graphing calculator. That's an old one. I remember that when I was in high school. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, that was. I will make you a sandwich if you ask.
Well, that's my point. That's what I said. Your wife's too busy making you a sandwich. She can't bring you the beer, so the fridge brings you the beer for you.
No, the wife's gone out to bingo.
You could set up. Now, this actually would probably be a really cool idea if somebody did this. Is to take one of those little, not a full-on smart fridge, but like a smart mini fridge. That's more like just a soda or something dispenser, and have it built into your desk.
I mean, so that would make sense.
A little hatch pops up, and you can just you can either set a cup or have a cup already in there, and it will dispense whatever liquid, or it will just bring up a can of something.
That makes sense for a smart product.
Cool. That would be cool.
It's also something that would be useful. You're sat here, you're playing a game, you feel like you need a drink. Just use your voice and say, hey, yeah, I need a drink. Give me a beer. I've got a pint glass here. Put your pint glass under it. Automatically dispenses you a pint of fucking Coke or something.
No, that's a great feature.
That would be useful.
What Gabs has said. If you can't get your wife to squirt, ask the fridge to instead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But yeah,
his mind's at.
Aside from the 8K TV, because I know we've derailed a bit talking about smart products, was there anything else from CES that sort of took your fancy? Anything interesting? I know Razer usually do something at these, and I don't think they did one of their special projects like they do their concept ideas. Because I know they did their modular desk a few years back, but I didn't hear much about them this year at CES.
Not on the page that I saw, and it was only a quick little research. I'm sure if I went into more depth, I would have seen stuff that's not on this page, but there's nothing about Razer. I mean, I have two more. How many did you want me to
as many as you want to bring up?
Every single one on the no. So I'll save the best for last. Just trust me. You'll want to hear about the last one. I thought that was
a smart dildo.
Unfortunately,
I mean, that probably already exists.
Probably.
Where is it? I've lost it now. Bear with.
I did find one.
Take it away.
The Asus convertible gaming laptops return. New hardware and improved battery. So it's basically like a little tablet laptop, like a Microsoft Surface, but they're bringing it back, but with a improved battery power over the original. Because I remember hearing that was one of the drawbacks in the original one is it just didn't have enough battery oomph to run everything, especially not as a gaming device that you could hook monitors, keyboard, and everything into. But apparently they upped it.
I'll be honest, I think this is the same as what they do every year. A lot of people that are taking laptops, desktops, things like that, like pre-builds, a lot of the times they're not really concepts that they're bringing over. It's more, hey, yeah, this is a finalized product. I know a few years back at CES, Framework, who actually did a backed, what is it? I think it's Kickstarter. They did a Kickstarter campaign where they wanted to make a fully modular laptop that basically you could upgrade any component for. and basically you only have to replace like each part, individually, rather than what most laptops are like, where it's like, oh great, now my CPU's out of date, but the CPU's soldered to the fucking motherboard. I can't really do much except landfill waste. And that's one of the things that I know framework laptops are trying to do. And that was like a really, really good concept idea that got brought. But every single year, a lot of these companies are just bringing new products, new ideas that are just like, hey, yeah, this is just an update to our old laptop. This is what you can expect this year.
Yeah, but the fact that they did do it instead of scrapping the whole thing, I think is smart. Like, when you realize, okay, we have a problem, you work to fix the problem and improve it, I have to give you credit for that regardless. You acknowledge, hey, we had this product. Hey, it had problems. All right, let's fix it. Let's improve it. We're going to improve not just the battery, we're going to improve all the hardware on it and go from there. Whenever you fix a problem and then make improvements to the thing, I'm going to give anybody credit on that.
That's fair.
You have a product that's bad and you improve it or you fix it, good. It can still be a piece of junk product, but the fact that you tried to improve it and fix it, I will give credit.
Oh, yeah.
It's the attempt. It's the effort.
Yeah,
Yes.
the attempt and the effort.
In this case, the Asus little gaming tablet thing, I don't think is a piece of junk. I think it's actually a pretty cool thing. Especially since people, for some reason, are wanting to ditch laptops and go to just those Surface tablets. Sorry, I'm too old school. Give me an actual laptop.
An LG Gram or something, I don't know.
No, I actually have an Asus Tough gaming laptop.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I deliberately buy their Tough series because I wanted the stuff rated for more abuse and to last longer.
Yeah, I saw the Acer Predator Helios 18 as in an 18-inch display, which is fucking unheard of for a fucking laptop.
Ew, imagine trying to find a laptop bag or a backpack you could fit that in to carry it.
The problem is, I think the largest laptop size that have been around for quite a while now is a 17-inch. And then they're just trying to push boundaries. Like, at what point are we just going to end up carrying a fucking desktop PC around with us with a mounted monitor? Like, come on.
I mean, people used to do that. People used to remember the Apple computers, which was the monitor with the TV built into the back of it. You can do that, and now they make the bricks, which it literally looks like a freaking brick, and it's all your computer stuff. And all you need is monitor, power, keyboard, mouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things for me with CES and consumer laptops, etc., is it was primarily a showcase of NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel's new hardware, and that was the prime thing that they were focusing on. Like AMD with their 7,000 GPUs, their Radeon GPUs going into mobile, the new NVIDIA RTX 4000 series, mobile chips, with Intel with their new 13th gen, or is it 14th, 13th, something like that. I don't know. I'm completely lost at this stage with Intel's bloody generations. But their new chips, AMD's new 7000 Ryzen mobile processors as well, and things like that going into them. Like it's just really just to showcase what AMD, Intel, and Nvidia have been up to. I don't think it's really much else aside from that. I know companies like who's that one that works with Corsair? I can't remember the name of them, but they've brought out a few laptops where they've got like a Stream Deck basically built into the laptop above like the function row on the keyboard.
That's actually kind of interesting. That actually seems like a pretty smart idea.
That was released, I think, last year or the year before.
That's actually pretty
like it was designed as a laptop for content creators.
I know they did that with a keyboard for I think it was Corsair did a keyboard for a PC. I didn't know they did it for a laptop as well.
Yeah, they did it for a laptop, and it was fucking huge. But the biggest flop for it was not a lot of people wanted to buy it because it came with like a top of the line GeForce. This was back when the 3000 series were around. Like it was like a desktop 3080 Ti or a 3090 in it. Like it was ridiculously overpriced for a laptop.
Yeah, at that point you might as well get an actual PC and just get a little Stream Deck.
Like, don't get me wrong.
I still don't have. I've never gotten one.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, getting a laptop is great for like content creation, streaming and stuff if you're always on the go. But if you're someone like us three, where when we play video games, we're at home anyway, it makes sense just to have a full rig that's already set up with multiple monitors rather than fucking around trying to get a laptop out, finding somewhere to plug it in, getting everything set up. Because as good as laptops are, they don't have the audio interfaces that PCs can. Anyway, APOC, what else? You said you got a few things.
Yeah, so this one I thought was an interesting one. I thought that this one's actually could be useful rather than, fucking smart fridge. So Apple and Android have joined to make a satellite-based texting feature. So it says Qualcomm have is it cool? Yeah, have unveiled Snapdragon satellites, which will effectively allow people to buy new Android phones later this year to send two-way texting messages using satellites. This feature could come in handy to those who need to communicate but don't have coverage.
Thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm sure you're going to come up with a lot of ways of how this is going to, with security or how it's going to be buggy and not work or whatever. But in theory, it sounds good. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have a good signal right now. Oh, I can just send a message anyway.
I'm just hit the nail right on the head there with my thoughts. Mommy Apple and Daddy Android working together.
I mean, that I was surprised by. That part I was surprised by, but I'm just so focused on the products. But yes, if I go into like the whole side behind it, like it's Android and Apple working together, nani.
This is huge in the tech world because Apple and Android are notorious for never working together.
Water and oil.
I mean, naturally, they're one of the biggest competitors out there when it comes to like for phones and that. So
we'll take last year as a prime example. About iMessage, Android being on the whole. You've got to start using RCS because everybody else is using it because Android like powers over like 5 billion devices and everything and. Like, even though Apple have got a more market share than us, like more devices run Android because, smart fridges and things like that. And it's like
because Apple is all proprietary software and Android is open source.
Yeah, it's like RCS. You can access RCS text messaging on your computer using Google Messages. You don't need any additional software or anything like that. As long as your phone's on, you can receive text messages on your phone, you can receive text messages on your computer. Apple, you can do the same thing on Apple, but you've got to have a Mac for it. You can't use a standard PC.
Yeah. Now, getting off the Apple Android fight, this satellite thing, it doesn't make as much sense to me because text message doesn't use your phone signal. Text messaging does not use a cellular signal.
It does. It uses a cellular signal, but it depends much on the phone that you're using. If you're using something like a 3G enabled device only, it would use the old 2G signal to send it out under its own SMS sort of 2G
it sends
signal.
It as a data signal, not as a phone true cellular signal. Signals are actually transmitted differently. So you can actually have cellular service and still be able to send text message. Not have phone reception, but be able to send a text message.
Oh, yeah. So, that again, this is what I was saying about RCS. That is very much on the whole RCS thing because RCS, you can have a Wi-Fi signal and be able to send a text message. You can have
a Wi-Fi signal and be able to call people now because their Wi-Fi calling.
But when it comes down to like basic SMS text messaging and things like that, because RCS, iMessage, they are not, cellular text messages. That's not SMS. That is effectively like using WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It's just another service that is just sending an online chat message. Yeah, it's not a text message.
because SMS historically has always been different from cellular. Like literally the phone companies literally would tell you this and have to charge you separately. That's why you can have unlimited calling, but not unlimited texting because they process differently.
You see, over here, it was very different for us. And then Jordan will be able to say the exact same thing here. When me and him were growing up, we would always text because we would always have unlimited text, but always limited phone minutes to call.
Ours was the opposite. It was, I think, per text message, and it was you had a character limit on the text message. If you went over that, it split it into 2 text messages, and you were charged 25 cents per message.
Yeah, that's how it used to be for us. That's how it used to be before the whole, hey, you get unlimited things now. Because they realized that text messaging was becoming so popular that it was just no point in having these paper messages. So in the UK, that moved to a whole scale of, okay, we'll give you unlimited text messages, but you'll have to pay depending on how many minutes you want for a phone call or how much data you want on your phone. And now in the UK, I don't know about in America, but in the UK, they've changed it again. It's now unlimited phone calls and unlimited text messages, but you pay depending on how much data you want.
No, it's not like that here because all the phone services are all separate, independent. So you still have the phones where you pay for X amount of minutes because you can get those. They're super cheap. They don't cost much. If you don't use your phone much, that is a very cheap alternative to a smartphone, which will run $1,000 for just the phone. You can buy $40 phone, get a $30 pay card. Now you have functioning phone that you can communicate. Text messaging is separate from calling. That is still a separate thing. Like up till I think 4 years ago, I was still unlimited texting. Unlimited call, but limited text. And data could or could not be unlimited depending on how much you paid. So your top tier like phone plans and such were unlimited call, unlimited text, unlimited data. That was your top of the line feature. But if you couldn't afford it, then you had like limit, limit, and limit.
So I'll just bring you up with the UK stuff up on the thing because me and APOC we were with a company called 3 here in the UK, and basically every single one of our plans, as you can probably see on the stream here, 100 gig of data was 50, unlimited minutes, unlimited text. That's a pay as you go phone thing. 50 gig, £15, unlimited 35, 10 gig. 10 everything's all unlimited minutes, unlimited texts, and that's even extending out to the standard big boy contracts. With exceptions, obviously, if we want to go roam in different countries, then that obviously becomes very, very different. Yeah, that's basically how it works in this country
right now, and it's like here's these phone plans. These are the unlimited plans, and I'm like, go down to their cheap. This is their family plan.
Because yeah, over here in the UK,
they have just discontinued the plans I was originally on, but yeah, there were. If you didn't have much, you couldn't afford stuff. Like, not everybody can be affording to drop $75, $80 a month on a phone. And y'all's were, what'd you say, 35 quid?
About £35 for our unlimited everything, and that's a pay as you go. There is a difference between pay as you go and pay monthly over here. Pay monthly because you're tied into a contract with them for like 12 or 24 months. Those are significantly cheaper because they know they've got your custom for that long. But obviously with pay as you go, you can choose to leave whenever you want. So they tend to put the pay as you go prices up.
Yeah. One person, limited talk text data, plus 50 gig of premium data. Oh, after 50 gig, may temporarily slow data speeds. So you can be throttled if you go past a certain point. Got it.
Depending on which network it is over here. So with 3 as a prime example, that is true unlimited. There are no caps. It's not like you download so much and then they'll limit you. But there are companies that are called MVNOs. This is a bit of a lesson for those of you who don't know. An MVNO is a mobile virtual network operator. So, for example, you'll get your main big boy ones. So over here in the UK, the main big ones are O2, EE03. Those are the 3 big ones. But then you've got all sub versions of those. So you've got companies like giffgaff, which is very fun to say, Vodafone, Virgin Mobile, which is now merging into O2. So that one's kind of a defunct one.
Hey, Virgin over
BT
here. I think
Mobile. Those all are mobile network operators, and the virtual operators like giffgaff, etc. They will usually have a clause in there where it says, "Okay, you can use unlimited data, but they won't classify it as unlimited. They'll class it as always on, because once you've downloaded past a certain amount, then they'll throttle your speeds so that everybody else gets fair use on the network." But with the big boy companies like with me and APOC being on 3, we don't get that on our unlimited plans.
See, I'm looking at the AT&T stuff. Depending on which one you're on, they will throttle your. They say they might throttle your data if you go past a certain point and the network is.
Yeah, fair
Probably
enough.
will.
Anyway, next up on the list, because otherwise we're going to be sat here, we're doing a lot of research when we could have done it before, but a lot of the time we don't know what we're talking about until we actually get to it. But APOC, what's next on your list?
So the last one, so it is the one that I was saving for last, the best one. Are you guys ready?
I am intrigued. If it isn't a dildo that is smart,
I'm curious.
I am
this is
going
what
to
I
be
just
upset.
saw a hint of, and I'm like, I wonder if APOC's going to bring this up because this is hilarious.
It is hilarious, this one, so it might be. So BMW unveils updates to its car I can never say it, mechanism and chameleon put together. It's a color changing car.
That is, do you know what? That it's not hilarious, but I mean, it is hilarious, but at the same time, it is so fucking useful.
That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool and so useful. Just imagine one day you're like, I want a really nice, snazzy black car. I'm going on a business event. Fuck it, BMW, go black, and never turn back.
Once you go black, you never go back.
You know, and then the next day you could be like, "Well, I've got a wedding. I've got a wedding to go to," and they want a white car to take them for the wedding. Boom, BMW, turn white. Sorry, Jim, I can't do that. Once you turn black, you can never go back. But yeah, no, like the concept there, I think is brilliant because it's definitely something that I feel like a lot of people could use.
Pink.
What was that?
I want everybody to see me. Make it neon pink.
Yes, neon pink. Fuck yeah.
Everybody will see it.
I mean, yeah, it's like you said, it's a cool feature, and yeah, a lot of people might be like, "Oh yeah, cool. I can just, if I wake up today and be like, it's like an orange sort of day, I'll just make my car orange. Oh, it's a black day, I'll make it black." But for it's like, oh, is it actually useful? Is it something that's going to, change the world and push technology forward until we've got like flying cars and people living forever and whatever? It's like, no, this is something that we don't need. It's just like it's one of those things that's just like we could do it, so we did.
That's not the one I thought you were going to come up with, because there is one that was unveiled at CES that I thought you were going to say, and because you didn't, I'm going to say it.
Oh,
that would be cool. That would be
I'm
cool
intrigued.
idea. Just imagine rolling down the street with my logo on it.
Hell yeah!
Wireless toilet.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yes, look it up. CES 2023 wireless toilet. Look it up.
What the fuck is a wireless toilet?
Wireless toilet.
When did toilets have wires?
On the bathroom lineup revealed at CES 2023 included lots of heated toilet seats. Smart toilets are at the heart of Cole's CES 2023 reveals as the company displayed 3 new entries in its porcelain throne lineup. The most luxurious of the trio is the Numi 2.0, which is expected to clock in at over $11,000. $11,000 for a fucking toilet. What?
$11,000 to fucking take a shit in it.
It's integrated with Alexa for hands-free operation and comes packed with high-end features, including a bidet, a lid that automatically opens and closes, UV cleaning, and most importantly, a heated seat.
I was hoping it was going to have a fucking bidet because like, you could just then be like, Alexa, clean my anus. Okay, cleaning
That's
anus.
That's what the bid is for. It will hose you down.
But Jesus Christ, like, what the hell? What the actual hell?
I thought he was going to bring up for the finisher on this set.
I'm actually very surprised my Alexa didn't pick that up when I said that.
I'm surprised it didn't pick me up. It picked me up one time before, if you remember.
I do remember that.
Hey, Alexa.
No.
Alexa!
I think she's broken because I've said her name twice now. Alexa. Oh no, there you go. There you go. She lit up.
Play porn noises.
Go to sleep.
The headset on, so she probably can't hear.
But yeah, so
anyone who's got us on speakers though.
For me, there was a few highlights though at CES for me. Number one, LG's 97-inch OLED TV puts all others to shame. Do you want to know why?
7-inch.
Do you want to know why it puts everything to shame? Forget the fact it's 97 inches, because we've seen TVs of 100, 103 inches, etc. So it's not the size.
Outside of like business where you're trying to do a wall of TVs or something like that, there is no point to that.
But no, the reason why it puts all others to shame is it is the world's first fully wireless OLED TV.
Is that the one that's also battery operated, that when it runs out of power, it falls off the wall or something?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
That's a good feature.
So that is a bug. They are planning on fixing that. It's a behemoth. It doesn't skimp on normal high-end TV features. Like I said, it is 97 inches. However, it will be out in 2023 along with an 83-inch and a 77-inch version. With the 97-inch version costing $25,000 and the 77-inch OLED only $2,900.
Oh.
I could do a lot with 25,000.
Oh, a fucking
that would
jump
fund
low.
a trip to Japan. That would fund a trip to go visit you knuckleheads. That would fund a trip to, well, actually, those 2 trips plus like 2 or 3 others.
Basically, the wireless technology behind this TV is actually really awesome. So it's able to carry a 4K 120 hertz signal losslessly with no latency at all, along with 7.1 surround sound audio, etc. Things like that. It's capable to support Dolby Atmos surround sound speakers that also are going to be wireless. But it also has like suction cups on the back that when you push it to the platform, it kind of like suctions itself to the back. And during CES, one of the demos, they tried to show it off and the battery died. So the pump stopped working. And rather than it was sat there for a couple of minutes and then it fell off.
You see, I think I know the cause of the bug. I can just I'll just let them know so they can fix it straight away. What it is within the coding. You know, obviously when a battery runs out, you know, it's referred to as like, oh, the battery's died. So when they were doing the coding, they accidentally put like a few ones or zeros in there that made the TV take it literally. So it's like, oh, I've died. I need to die. So it just commits suicide.
Splat.
Other notable entries as well of CES as well. The HTC Vive XR Elite mixed reality headset costs a whopping $1,100. It is a mixed reality headset similar to the Meta Quest Pro. However, it is smaller than the Meta Quest Pro and also like $200-300 cheaper than the Meta Quest Pro.
So it's newer, smaller, less expensive, but fancier.
and fancy it. Yeah. It looks awesome. I say it looks awesome. Have you ever watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the new one, not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the one with Johnny Depp in it?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll concede the screen in a second. Okay, when you look at it, just think of the goggles that they wear when Mike TV goes in that room.
Oh, the goggles, yeah.
The goggles, they do nothing.
Why is it so small?
I don't know why. So probably because the smaller it is, the less weight you've got on it.
But they're not exactly heavy. Like we both have a VR headset.
We have the V1 of the Quest, and the only problem is, yes, that they're fine, but not for like prolonged use. Like the purpose of these of these mixed reality headsets is they're going to be used in like production environments where it's going to like pop up important information about like if they're doing a 3D model and they're trying to visualize it in like real time in space in front of them.
Sense.
You know, with them wearing them like 8, 9, 12, maybe even 12, 13 hours of the day.
Okay.
With them being lighter, it's going to be a lot easier on them. Whereas if we're playing Beat Saber, we're probably going to have it on our head for a maximum of maybe even 8 hours. And even then, that's going to be having breaks in between.
Nah, non-stop for Beat Saber.
Hey, it's not New Year's Eve, okay?
It will be before you know it.
But yeah, AI tech also improved with AMD introducing AMD Ryzen AI, the world's first integrated AI engine on an x86 processor. Pretty cool. Not going to go into it. NVIDIA did a similar thing with stuff as well.
Cool. The AI's invading.
A solar-powered car announced by Lightyear, and the world's first fully solar car is called the Lightyear 2. It's
they're coming back out with solar cars.
Yeah, so they came to CES 2022 last year to talk about the Lightyear 2, a revision of the. So basically, last year they spoke about it. This year they came with an actual concept car. Lightyear are taking pre-orders. Pricing is not yet set, but promised to limbo under $40,000 for a car, with production starting in 2025. Here's the car.
But the question is, though, where are they planning to, ship these cars to? Where in the world can you buy this car?
I have no idea.
Because that car would be fucking useless in the UK. It's never sunny.
It wouldn't be, though, because people have got solar panels on their houses, and it does shave off a lot of their energy bills over here.
Also, solar panels don't require bright light. You can use, I think it's an amorphous type panel, which can charge even on cloudy weather. It just doesn't charge as much as fast, but it does still charge. I know. At the shop I work at, we have both your traditional bright light only solar panels and your bright or cloudy. But hell, people have been mounting solar panels to cars to make them solar powered for decades. I mean, that was a running thing for like 20 years ago, was to make a fully solar powered vehicle, and they did it. They did it, and they were doing like little mini races with them just to prove that this could work and they could do it. It was like, this is the first solar powered car, and it's like maybe a first commercial available one, but no, it's not the first.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those weird things. Do you know what?
I've been telling people to say is like, hey, you got a Tesla, you got something like that, mount solar panels to it, hardwire them in, increase your range.
People have been mounting cars for a lot longer, Gabs. Don't you worry.
All right, I'm gonna mute you guys a second because I'm gonna put a video up on the stream. I want you guys to watch it. Okay, it's about 1:21. This is one of the new features that that NVIDIA have announced at CES. Okay, you remember the episode we spoke about streaming platforms and sites? Yes.
No.
And we were talking about like Xbox Game Cloud, NVIDIA, GeForce Now, etc. Okay. No. Enjoy this.
Probably not.
GeForce Now is the premium cloud service that delivers a full PC gaming experience to nearly any device, including laptops, tablets, phones, smart TVs, and now the next generation of automobiles. Breakthroughs in streaming technology and the newest wireless services enable GeForce Now to provide low latency for smooth, interactive, real-time gameplay on the go. More than 1,000 titles, including a vast library of AAA and the most popular free-to-play games, are playable with just a controller, ideal for the car. With GeForce Now, drivers and front seat passengers can access games while charging or while waiting for a family member. Rear seat passengers can play while on the road using available rear screens. NVIDIA is partnering with BYD, the world's leading manufacturer of new energy vehicles, Polestar, the Swedish premium EV and lifestyle brand, and Hyundai Motor Group, the world's third largest automaker, whose brands include Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, to enable an exciting full PC gaming experience on the go.
So, Redneck, first of all, I'd like to know what your thoughts are here on that, because you were the first person to put their head in their hands right there.
Oh, jeez. That's gonna cause a lot of like vehicular accidents, wrecks. I'm curious how long it takes for that gets outlawed or banned, because it's like, oh, just at least here in the US, I know for a fact. I don't know about y'all in the UK. Wireless, like you're not even supposed to. In a lot of places, you can get a ticket for driving using your phone as an active
Yep.
call.
Yeah, that's one
You
thing
have to be
they've
doing
started to.
hands-free.
They've started to do a lot of stuff over here. Like they've introduced it for like operating GPSs, and I know that there was talks about even doing it if you're operating your radio now in the UK, because obviously a lot of them are becoming more and more smart. So you've got your GPS and everything and text messages all on like the center console. So they're trying to do like put in laws in place to even stop people being able to operate with them.
Exactly. So I wonder how long it's going to be for the gaming thing to do that, especially since they say video games make people violent. So
Do you know what?
how
what
many?
I
I'm
love?
just waiting for somebody to be playing GTA on the car, and it's like, you know what? Let's try this. I want to see if I can actually do this.
Do you know what? Do you know what? This is one thing that really did get me as well. Like I know, I think it was Tesla. They did something where you can play a gaming mode where you can play driving games on your Tesla by using your fucking steering wheel and pedals.
Yes, but I believe it disables the engine when you do
It disables the engine and stuff like that. But it just takes one moment to go, oh yeah, let's play Grand Theft Auto, to all of a sudden, yeah, right, we're ready to go. Fuck it, dead granny.
Yeah, so it's like, although Tesla, I will say, does have they have a lot of software in their vehicle to
There's
do
basically
stuff.
no hardware. Tesla vehicles are basically just software, no hardware at all.
Well, there's
Like the
even
wheels are
software on 'em that,
imaginary.
even on like a lot of even if you're not using the Tesla's auto drive thing, they have internal cameras that are watching you. So if they notice you're not paying attention, it will give you an alert.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
hey, pay attention. Or if you're on auto drive and you take your hands off the wheel, it will
Beep,
give
beep,
you an
beep, beep,
alert.
beep, 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 for about
Yeah.
10 seconds, and then if it has no input from you from 10 seconds, it'll basically break. Now, that is
there
a
was a
useful
glitch.
feature.
There was a glitch. It would disable the auto drive, so it would switch back to manual.
Oh Jesus! I know they made. I know the
patched that one
original
pretty quick.
idea with it was that it would effectively start applying the brakes and slowing you down. And it's just like, that's great until you're on something like the freeway in America or the motorway over here, and you're in the middle lane and you've just got rushes of cars both sides, and someone just ends up going straight into the back end of you because you've stopped in the middle.
Well, Tesla was also having issues with the proximity sensors. They would trip, and your vehicle, like, it would detect, like, oh, there's something in front, slow down.
Yeah.
There's nothing within, like, 100 yards, or for y'all, 100 meters in front of you, that sensor would trip and you would start slowing down.
So that wasn't just the only thing that was announced in terms of anything to do with gaming, etc., into an electric vehicle. It says here the start this year was Sony and Honda's collaboration of Fila, which promises a driving and interior experience connected to over 40 sensors that monitor every aspect of the driving experience. Drivers then interact with a massive in-car entertainment system that will use Epic Games' Unreal Engine 5 for eye-catching visual fidelity.
Nope.
Afila wasn't alone. LG showed off a 57-inch LCD panel designed to span the width of a car's dashboard. And in another gaming crossover, NVIDIA announced that its game cloud streaming service, GeForce Now, will come to select cars from Hyundai, Polestar, and BYD.
Now, if they set it so that it was like for the gaming option, if it was backseat only, I'd be more.
It'd have to be, for it to be legal in the UK, there would have to be something that they put in place for them to be able to say, yeah, you can drive that on the road. Because they will not allow you to be able to use it in game while driving in the front seat. They will have to put something in case that stops it on that front seat, or check that it's the passenger that's using it, not the driver.
I'm assuming there is
a safety switch of if the engine is on, game mode is off.
For the front, yeah, because I'm assuming, because that's what I assume, because they didn't specifically say it in the video, but when they were saying about, they were showing the person, playing the game in the front seat, and they said about like how you can game while charging or waiting for a friend. So I would assume they've put a safety thing in there where it's like, okay, if you're driving, that gaming feature isn't going to work.
I just hope they do, because I know when Teslas came out and they had Netflix on the fucking cars, Netflix wasn't disabled on the front screen because they assumed that it would be the passengers and those in the back seat that were watching it. But then people were using the whole auto drive system, and they were holding onto the steering wheel, not paying attention to the road or anything, and just watching stuff on Netflix. And it's like, you're fucking idiots if you think that. Yeah.
Well, even if they calibrate it for passenger only, so that you had a screen the driver couldn't see.
Do you know what? That's one of the things that I said about the fixes.
Set it to play, and then just drive, and then just listen to it. Like you could listen to it like a documentary or something like that.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I said to my dad a while back when they first announced it. Like there are these TVs that and they've been doing it for years, even on 3D screens, where you can have like a polarized layer. That basically it's almost like it's got a V shape in it. And when you look in from one side, it shows one half of the pixels. And if you look from the other side, it shows the other half of the pixels. So it can display two different images. And it's not as if that technology doesn't exist, because it does.
It's been around for a long time. I remember, I think it was at Disney World. They had this big old display thing. It was like a replica from the original Star Wars, where they looked down into this display and it had 3-dimensional images and all that. You could look at it from almost every angle and see the same thing as everybody else because of how it was projected. And so it'd be very easy to just reconfigure that, instead of like you could walk around it completely and see all the same stuff. All right, you could just reconfigure that, like you're over here, you see one thing. You move over here, you see another thing. This is not new tech.
No,
it's just new that they're inputting it in this way.
I've seen it was ages ago, like there was this like ad for like for like child abuse, and it was like, if you're like this height, you will see, if you're basically the child's height, you'll see an advertisement that will say, if you're if you need help, here's the number. And then if it was like an adult height, it didn't show that. It showed something different, to obviously
That's
show that
cool.
So
get a Big Mac now from McDonald's for only 99.
Yeah, I don't remember.
One half of it'll be a Big Mac advertisement, the other half is the kids' meal.
Yeah,
no. Do you know what I can imagine it being?
It probably was.
Do you know what I can imagine it being? Bottom screen. Are you being abused? Call this number now. The top screen. Are you the abuser? Yeah, here's a coupon code for a free bat.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I mean, it is America. We got to capitalize on something here. We need to make the money for this fucking hotline that the kids are going to be calling, you know?
Gabs nailed it with a quote. That guy's playing Galaga. He thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
But yeah, continuing on just quickly with CES, Matter was a big thing this year. I don't know if you know what Matter is. It's basically a new smart home standard. You've heard of mesh wireless networks, I'm assuming.
Mesh intrigued me because it did not rely on a normal network. It was basically you could just Bluetooth connect to everybody and then have it as an independent network. I believe they use it on cruises and such so that you're out at the ocean, you don't have a normal network. You could just mesh everything together. So you send a message and it just hops around till it finds the right phone and boop.
Yeah, so in-home network specifically, you can have as many Wi-Fi access points as you want as part of the mesh network. They all connect to each other. So basically, I could have one in my room, I could have one in my sister's room. They would just talk to each other. And then if I added one downstairs, it would talk to both of them. And basically, they effectively just talk to each other, like basically like a hopscotch. It's basically going through the steps. Matter is basically a new standard created by Google, Samsung, Apple are even part of this. Like, there's a bunch of different companies that are involved. I think Intel are involved as well. Matter is what are you doing? Stout Wi-Fi. God damn it, Caps. But yeah, so Matter is basically a wireless standard used for smart home devices. That basically means every single smart home device will communicate with each other. So it doesn't matter if you have a Wi-Fi access point in one part of the house, as long as you've got smart devices positioned in the house between the far away part of your house that's away from Wi-Fi and several devices between the access point, they will all communicate with each other. So you'll never need to worry about whether or not a device is going to be connected to a Wi-Fi network anymore. It's going to be a case of they all speak to each other, and it means everything can just be set up like really seamlessly.
So it is like it's a mesh network, but it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So that basically you have like your one hub. This device goes to the hub, but since this other device is out of range, it can just connect to that device.
So the difference between Matter and mesh Wi-Fi is mesh Wi-Fi, it will basically repeat the signal consistently, and you can connect on your phone, your laptop, etc. It just basically creates a bigger Wi-Fi network, so you can connect from anywhere in the house as long as you've got a mesh network connected device in range. With Matter, you can't connect like your own phone or anything to it. Matter uses its own protocol to talk to each other. It's just that first device or the first group of devices that are near the router that actually communicate with the router. But everything else all just connects and talks to each other and basically says, hey, yeah, we want this light on, and it'll pass it down the chain to get to the router. And then the router will then send the response and it'll go back down to the chain, back to the smart device. It's actually pretty cool.
Wait, but the mesh network I'm familiar with, that's literally what it does.
Yeah. So like I was saying,
a mesh and a Matter, if they're literally just daisy chaining the signal along to where it needs to go, and then if you get a response, daisy chains it back.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they're both doing the same thing.
Yeah.
One's just a newer version of the other.
Yeah, one's a newer version, and it can only talk to devices that run the same protocol and the same standard. Whereas with Wi-Fi, anything can connect to it. So you need to have a Matter-enabled device.
Open to anything that can connect is good. This is more the proprietary version of you have to have our version, our software, our protocol.
Yeah, pretty much. But because Matter is going to be an open standard, it means anything that like Google make, Samsung make, Apple make, etc., will all support the Matter protocol. It's just on third-party developers like TP-Link, etc., to say yes, we'll adopt it or not. Which most likely they'll say yes because they'd be ridiculous to say no. It's like turning around and saying we're not going to have a Wi-Fi connected smart thing. It's only going to be Bluetooth.
I'm already not liking it because it was created with the sole purpose of getting rid of the old. Instead of upgrading and improving, here's Matter. If you want to use this, you have to use our software and do it our way.
Yeah.
In such a way that we control how it's done instead of a true open source of Here's an open mesh network. You can set up however you want, whatever way you want. As long as you connect, you're good to go. No, you have to use our protocol, our way of doing it, so that if you're doing this, you do it our way.
Yeah.
I already don't like it because now they could change the protocol standard, and now you must adhere to it no matter what it may be.
Yeah, pretty
So then
much.
you'll have to change all your software, all your protocols. So if they decide we don't like this type of thing,
so
we're not going to allow it.
So just to put some
No, you can't.
clarification on there, Matter will basically the idea behind Matter is it will use existing infrastructure as well. So, for example, if you've got a lot of old smart devices that use like a Samsung hub or things like that, they will support Matter because it's effectively just a firmware update in terms of Samsung products. If it's like an off-brand, like here's an Amazon $5 smart bulb that connects to Wi-Fi, that's something completely different because that doesn't have like a major developer as part of it. So you'll be able to go out and buy existing Samsung smart products and be able to connect it to the Matter network pretty much instantly, as long as it's got that firmware update. So it's not really replacing old stuff that you've already got. It's sort of adding an extra layer on top for even older devices, if that makes sense. It's difficult to explain. We'll do a mini or something on Matter, and we'll look into it a bit more.
Probably have to go more in depth on that because the firmware won't work. Because if it's a sufficiently older device, they literally will tell you you can't do this. I actually have a Samsung device that cannot be updated because they will not, because it can't connect to the network anymore.
Obviously, it depends on if Samsung are gonna create the firmware updates, because it's on the developers to create these updates and these firmware updates. So it's like Samsung could be okay. We'll put it for everything, or they'll go, okay, we'll only do it for products made between 2020 and 2022, because any device that we make after 2022 is up to date.
That's why I see this as not necessarily good, because they could literally put in that firmware update that you cannot use mesh. They can put a firmware lockout in.
Oh, yeah.
You can't use mesh, you have to use Matter. So you're now required to use their stuff.
Well, the thing is, the whole Matter thing as well is it's meant to be more secure than using Wi-Fi, because it's a closed network, because it's not like a Wi-Fi network that can be intercepted just from a standard PC or anything like that. Because it's even though it's an open standard, the communication between everything is encrypted from device to device, so nobody knows really what the originating device is. It's interesting. We'll definitely do a mini and we'll discuss about Matter a lot more, because it's definitely one of those topics that's going to be interesting.
By my nature, I'm distrustful of such things, because it literally says, oh, this is firmware. This is a new standard that you will need to adhere to. I already distrust it.
So I'll just read this here that I've got in front of me.
We're also derailing a little bit.
Samsung revealed the new SmartThings station at CES, a tiny smart home hub about the size of a deck of playing cards. It doubles as a wireless smartphone charger and provides support for the Matter and Thread smart home standards. Matter and Thread is basically the same thing, it's just different names. Coming at just $59.99, that's in dollars in February, is significantly less expensive than many prior smart home hubs. So basically, what they're saying is, if you've already got compatible lights, etc., with a Samsung Smart Hub, then you can just buy this extra hub. It's cheaper. You replace the old one, and then the new one will connect to the Matter network. And yeah, that's basically what they're saying with it. GE, Eve, Leviton, Govee, Nanoleaf, and Aquara, among others, also debuted new Matter-compatible devices. The standard's broad industry support will finally make it possible to buy smart home devices without worrying you'll end up committed to a dead-end smart home ecosystem, which is actually one of the main things about Matter. It doesn't matter what device you connect to. If it supports Matter, it will be supported pretty much forever.
Until
unless they replace it like with Matter version 2 or anything like that. But the likelihood is yeah. But I think the point with Matter is it's just going to be it's going to be rolling updates. It's not going to be like, hey, yeah, we've come up with a brand new major update for this, and now everything's incompatible. It's going to be like, hey, yeah, this is version 1. The next update is version 0.00001 on top of that, and it's just going to be continuous updates to that.
I just see how this can go so wrong so fast.
Oh yeah,
because I've seen like here's the new standard. The new standard deliberately excludes things we don't like. Therefore, oh, these brands, since they chose not to do this, you cannot connect them at all.
yeah,
Oh, we also, as a firmware, it is locked so that you cannot use a mesh network. So even if you wanted to run a normal mesh to connect everything, you can't. So you
yeah.
must buy these products.
As dude says in chat, it doesn't matter. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey.
I just see how it can go so wrong. But we can go more in depth on this one later on.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I am a lot of this tech, like it's great, it's revolutionary. That's really, really good.
Anyway, I think this will be the final thing that we talk about with the CES stuff because we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot in the last hour or so. Have you ever imagined? I'm actually going to read this straight off from the webpage. Ever imagine you could get on-the-spot health data at home just by going number 1? You'll soon be able to with the Withings U-Scan P sensor. The device sits at the front of the toilet when you pee, and apparently it is best to sit when you do so to get an accurate sample. It collects the urine, analyzes it, and then sends the results to your phone via Wi-Fi. What type of results, you might ask? For starters, it can monitor daily ketones and vitamin C levels and test your urine's pH level, which can indicate overall kidney health. Use a different cartridge, and women can use it to track their menstrual cycles. We've seen at-home urine test strips that require you to be hands-on to get test results, but the U-Scan is designed to be a seamless experience. Just do your business and move on. The fact that you get to do this, the fact that you can do this testing daily without even really thinking about it and get results sent to you straight away is truly what sets the U-Scan apart.
Everyone's going to make this tech is going to make everyone sitters. Yep, we're all going to become whamans when it comes to peeing.
Okay. The only place I can see this being useful in is in the medical field. Like, put this in hospitals, definitely. Because then, okay, actual urine testing becomes a lot easier, a lot faster, and you can do stuff like that. So, on that end...
If someone hacks it, you could say, you're in trouble. Sorry, I had to.
You had to. But I'm sorry. If you're gonna, that's the only place you can see this useful is like medical centers, hospitals, ERs, where you're needing to do some of this testing anyway. This makes it easier because you can conduct multiple tests really quick. You can do the standard cup urine test. You can also then do the little scan test. So you can do more testing to get more information for a person's health in that way. So that makes sense on a medical field, not at home. That doesn't make sense as an at-home thing to me. I mean, what do you need to know your pH rating for?
To be fair, if you've got like a medical reason for using it, that is fair enough. But if you're just like me, Jordan, Redneck, and we're like, "What's up?"
This is kind of creepy.
I want to know my kidney function. I'd go and fucking book a thing at the doctor's. I wouldn't pee in a fucking bowl.
Yeah, little creepy there.
It's genuinely ridiculous. Stupidly ridiculous.
I record how strong my PP is.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, next up on the topic list, we've got Hogwarts Legacy.
Everyone's favorite game.
This is.
I'm not gonna lie. Looking at just the game stuff, it looked intriguing. It's an interesting concept. Looking at just the game, I'm intrigued. I mean, I don't have a care about Hogwarts, the Harry Potter world universe, I lost interest in that a long time ago. But just looking at the concept of it,
it's definitely interesting. So, Hogwarts Legacy, it's a RPG, which I know kind of tickles a lot of people's boats. A lot of people do like RPGs. I will be honest with you. Its initial release date will be on the 10th of February, or for you Americans, February 10th.
Weeks from now.
It'll be released on the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox One, and on PC. Yes, it tickles the boats. Whatever. Flows to fancy tickle the boats. You got it right. It's been nominated for the Game Award for Most Anticipated Game, because I know a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've looked at some images of it and rough descriptions of what it does. And like I said, yeah, it looks really interesting.
That's where the positivity ends. Because if we're just going to talk about the game, then yeah, it looks really good. We're
just talking about the game, then our job is pretty much done. We don't really need to be going into this topic.
It does look like a really good game. People have been hyped about it. They've hyped it up a lot, and yeah, going by just the game side of it, then yeah,
like Cyberpunk 2077, and as dude says, it's been in the work for literally years, and they've been hyping it up for years. Exactly. Same as Cyberpunk 2077. Now,
hopefully, it delivers without the bugs.
Hopefully.
But
now,
then we go
obviously,
into the but.
We've now got the but, and it is a big but.
A massive
and
but.
This is where the controversy starts.
Controversy?
Yes.
It's a controversy.
Yeah, you judge a game by the game, not by the experience, not that political shit. Yeah. Now, there is a big thing going around on social media, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, a lot of people, and they're turning around and saying that if you support the game, you are anti-LGBT, and you may as well just go and commit, as some people have gone and said. I don't know whether they want us to commit Sudoku, murder, or what it is, but I'm leaning on the murder side of things at the moment.
I want you to unalive yourself.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's stupid. That is stupid. Just because one or two people have such a bent does not mean it taints everything.
So,
I'm sorry.
What do you know of J.K. Rowling's comments that she's gone and made?
I'm aware of the hateful shit she's espoused. However, you mean to tell me that the thing people love, the story itself, the world itself of like Harry Potter, Hogwarts, all that. Are you telling me it's everything in it is hateful nastiness?
See, this is where a lot of people are doing a load of stuff on social media and stuff because they're not looking at that aspect. The core thing that they're looking at is J.K. Rowling owns the IP. Therefore, she gets paid a massive royalty for every copy that is sold. And they're turning around and everybody's saying by buying the game, they are supporting J.K. Rowling and her comments and turning around and saying that basically because you're giving money to J.K. Rowling, you're anti-LGBT. And it's like, no, that is not it. Because, okay, I'm gonna say this, okay, and this can be controversial as shit, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. Read the fucking tweets. She replied on one of the tweets and actually went and mentioned that she supports trans rights. She went on further to turn around and say that anybody should be able to live how they wish to live. That is not transphobic. What is transphobic is the people that are turning around and saying that shit is being transphobic. One thing that pisses me off as well about that fucking comment that was made, okay, is they're all basing it off of one comment where she turned around and referenced women as people who menstruate.
I mean, there are people nowadays who are using that also. Then again, there are people also nowadays who are saying men can menstruate, so...
I get the whole trans thing, is yes, it's not right to associate sex and gender as two things nowadays, okay? That is completely fine, okay? But the one thing that people need to understand is J.K. Rowling is not transphobic. J.K. Rowling is uneducated. She just needs to be educated on the topic. Nobody is willing to do that. They're just throwing shade at her. If you want to play the game, play the game. You support the IP, you support the IP. Doesn't fucking matter.
Okay, here's a question. Who was someone who was known as the biggest dealer in lethal instruments and objects that cause death and destruction? Who was one of the people who was credited as causing the most death in the last century and a half?
Hitler.
No.
Me apparently.
No.
It was Jordan, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Jordan.
Alfred Nobel.
Gabs is saying, is it Darth Vader?
No, it was Alfred Nobel because he is the man who created dynamite, which then revolutionized the military industry in explosives, artillery, bombs. You could say everything manufactured after 1900. And an artillery, a bomb, grenade, any of that can be credited to his creation. He also revolutionized the mining industry, which is what he created for, to help make mining more efficient, easier, so you didn't have to go deep into the ground and worry about a cave-in killing people. That's literally what he created it for. His obituary was actually published before he died as an, oops, our bad. He was so horrified when he saw that, he created the Nobel Peace Prize.
Now, I will say that some of J.K. Rowling's comments have not been well received and have not been well. They haven't been. They've been misguided. They have, she's uneducated, and it's the fact that
unwilling to forgive.
It's the fact that I'll just read here in a response to J.K. Rowling's comments. LGBTQ plus charity Mermaids issued a statement where they called on the Harry Potter author to meet with transgendered young people and listen to them with an open mind and an open heart before speaking about them. That just proves that Mermaids know she's uneducated, that she needs educating, that she needs to meet these people to understand the predicament.
Willing to have a conversation. To go, okay, you're saying these things. Is it that you don't know? If it is, let's talk. Let's have a sit-down discussion so you can learn and know. If it's because that's the way you are, well, we'll find out. It's the discussion. But you need to have a discussion to learn the truth of the matter. I mean, people can be drunk, put a hateful tweet up because they were drunk, and then suddenly their life is now in the gutter because people now will tear them apart and cancel them and everything they're associated with.
Well, take me and APOC as a prime example here, okay? How many times have we gone and made cancer jokes or dead baby jokes, or we've made jokes that could be considered racist because we've targeted, I don't know, Irish people or something like that as a part of the joke?
I'll get us for you.
But the thing is, it's considered in as a joke. Like, what the fuck? We're not cancelled for it, but someone who's much bigger, much more famous, someone who's got much more big of a following, they're cancelled. It's cancel culture in full effect.
And I hate it. Yeah. It's dumb. Because they're unwilling to have a discussion. They're unwilling to forgive. You do one bad thing, and now you're doomed for life.
Yeah, it's like what I was going to say.
You're also D's nuts by heritage, dude.
It's like what I was going to say is basically what
Legacy.
What
There's
Dude
nothing
said.
wrong with it.
It's like let's say for example, let's say for instance that J.K. Rowling is anti-trans. She's let's say in this scenario she is. But it's like what Dude said in the chat. It's like, but did she make the game? No. So it's like, yeah, I get where they're coming from with the whole, I don't want to support her because at the end of the day, she does get a large part of the income when it comes to the profits of the game and the sales of the game and everything. So it's like, I don't want to support somebody who is. But it's like, you need to also think about all the hours and the hard work that all the people who did make the game they deserve the credit and the
royalties actually are,
and the reward from it.
and believe it or not, as a royalty, it's not a large percentage. It's
Yeah.
a small percent. So
Exactly.
it's not
So it's
like, oh, you sell a $60 game, she gets $50. It's like, no, you sell a $60 game, she may get 60 cents.
yeah. So you think about all the
He
people
ain't
that
gonna
spent
get
the hour,
much.
the hours coding it, the people that did the voice acting, the people that did like the sound
Money goes to pay
engineering,
their salaries.
everything. Exactly.
them.
They need to get paid.
I think the thing that gets me is a lot of people are trying to use that argument and turning it on its head and saying, well, they've already been paid for their time because they're salaried. Okay, but what about the support to make sure that the game actually gets the credit that it deserves? Because if a developer makes a shitty game, that goes on their record. If nobody buys the game, it gets put on their record as a shitty game.
Also, the thing
Therefore,
on salary
it's
is
going to
an
be a
incorrect
bad
argument.
credit for them. So it's going to
Salary
be
thing-
like, what the fuck? You know?
The salary thing is an incorrect argument because those contracts are written one of two ways. The first is you get a fixed amount or you get a percentage based on the profits of the game.
So the game
Most of them
studio,
are a percentage.
so the game studio in question, they are salaried workers because they're a very, very, they're a much larger studio that have actually focused on it because they're behind it. It's basically they're backed by Warner Brothers, so they get backed on it, and then Warner Brothers basically takes the profit off of the game from sales and stuff like that. They get a salary,
Which also means if the game goes under, they're out of a job. Because
But
the game,
and then they get commission off the profit as well. I will say that as well. But the thing is, it's also a case of the whole. If you make a game and it doesn't do well, that goes on your record as, hey, this is a game I developed. Well, why was it a flop of a game? Because nobody bought it. Well, why did nobody buy it? Because we ended up making a game for someone that a load of people thought being transphobe. Okay, well, we don't care about that. That's a bad game on the record, and the companies aren't going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, we want that. It's just, yeah, you had a bad game. It's going to ruin their chances of potentially developing for bigger games in the future, and that's the thing that people need to consider. It's the developers and everything. It's not necessarily the paycheck, but it's more their future. If they get a bad game, they've got a bad game.
Additionally, if it's successful, it will continue on. You'll get more DLCs, more content release, which means a continued job for these guys. It tanks, they're out of a job. Now they have to go back to job hunting to figure out what can I do next. And again, as you point out, they will now have this failure stuck to them.
Yeah.
They limit their job options because, like, oh, you're marked as a failure. You failed at this. Why did it fail? Oh, it failed for X reasons. Well, since you're associated with that, we don't want to become associated with that, so we're not going to hire you.
If you're going to create a game, you're creating the game because you're doing what you enjoy doing. If you're going to play a game, play that game because you enjoy playing the game, not because of who is involved in the back end. J.K. Rowling wasn't actually involved in the development of the game, but yes, J.K. Rowling was. She was involved in the creation of the IP. She owns the IP. But don't let that ever sway you away from it.
I mean, dude had a point.
Because if we went to going by the owners of the IP, there would be many, many fucking games that would have never have sold well. Let's look at all of Blizzard's games as a prime example with Overwatch. You know, with what else? What's the other? World of Warcraft. What's the other game that they do as well?
StarCraft, I think.
Did you say StarCraft?
Yeah.
I thought no, StarCraft was Blizzard. I think. Not fucking hell, not Blizzard.
That's what. Wow.
What's it? Bethesda.
Oh, that's not World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Diablo.
Diablo, that was it. It's another one, you know, and it's like if we all started turning around saying we're only going to buy games based off of if it's a good moral to buy and play that game, we would basically never play a fucking game in our life because there are corrupt people involved in every aspect of any game.
I mean,
mainly the owners of the companies.
People are imperfect. If you try to hold everybody to a perfect standard, nobody will achieve it.
And that's the thing, you know? Look at Overwatch, okay? One of the probably best played games in the last sort of 6 months with it going free to play and things like that, okay? If we went down on the whole basis of we don't agree with the people who own the IP, they said the wrong things, nobody would be playing Overwatch. If people went and said we don't like the way that people do things, we don't like the players, or we don't like the way that things have been created, League of Legends wouldn't be as popular as what it fucking is.
I'll show you an example of, it's not a game, but I'll show you an example that supports that. Coca-Cola. Everybody should stop drinking Coke and stop associating with anything Coke related because they used to deal drugs as part of their product. So therefore,
Exactly.
Coca-Cola Company was drug dealers. Therefore, we must get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because cocaine was an ingredient in the drink. If we were to hold to that standard, you must stop drinking Coca-Cola and anything Coca-Cola owns and operates. You know how big a list that is?
If you're British, stop watching television, because all the bigwigs who started who started television all turned out to be fucking pedophiles.
You know, Fanta soda was originally created in Germany in the 30s, I believe it was.
That's intriguing, actually.
You know why?
No.
Because they could not get Coca-Cola. It was a blocked import. They were not allowed. Germany was not allowed to get it.
You will have to stop using PCs because child abuse for that reason. Exactly.
Your phone too.
Your phone.
Just the internet in general.
And this is one of the reasons why I turn around and tell people it doesn't fucking matter who owns the intellectual property to do with the game. If you enjoy a fucking game, fucking buy the damn thing. If you want to play Hogwarts Legacy, fucking play it. If you want to stream it, fucking play it. You do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, it's about how enjoyable it is for you. And as Dude says, the origin of that thing has absolutely fuck all to do with where it's at right now.
Hey, those are not quite his words, but it's close
Okay,
enough.
loosely using them.
You paraphrased.
Just do it.
You added a few words there.
Yeah. You added some words there.
Just the way Gaz is
Don't
like,
put
just
words in his
do it.
mouth.
Don't let your memes be memes. Damn
Don't
me.
let your facts become memes. Although, if it does, that makes it even funnier. It makes it more widespread.
But yeah. Anyway, next up, and I think this is the last topic that we're going to discuss. No, we've got two more topics. Fuck me.
Yeah, you went long on the CES. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, CES. There was a lot going on at CES, I'm not going to lie. The Xbox-Bethesda Developer Direct announcements.
That actually intrigued me more than CES did on it.
You know what, Redneck? I'll let you take the wheel on this one, because then you can get it done pretty quick.
CES had some interesting, like I looked at a couple of articles on it, and one of them there's a couple things that they announced that are coming for this, including some upcoming games. The games actually intrigued me more than the rest of it did. Minecraft Legends gets a release date in April, and it includes a PvP function, or I believe it is a PvP mode. And one of the things in it I saw a notation about is mob recruiting. So just think about all those creepers you can recruit and send to go visit your enemies.
I'm not gonna lie, Minecraft Legends, it looks awesome. I like the concept. I love the idea behind the game. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the game for me. I'll be honest with you.
I think there's a lot of people who won't leave old school Minecraft, but I think there's also a lot of people that will probably do both.
Like the idea behind it is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like it is great concept.
Cause so much shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued as like what kind of shenanigans are what people got to come up with.
Let's pretend for a second that Custom.
That was a fun second.
Let's pretend for a second that Custom won't play it. That was a fun second.
Yeah. I'm
to be fair, I'll play
it. But I'm always intrigued by like what people can do with it. Minecraft and me don't work well, so I don't find Minecraft fun. but it's interesting seeing what people develop and do. So this PvP mode, specifically the mob recruiting thing, that one's gonna be fun to me to see what people do with that. Just
Yeah.
sending like human wave tactics of creepers and other things.
It's gonna be interesting. I think the whole game, the idea behind it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now the one a buddy of mine is going to love is the Forza Motorsport details that came out. Because one of the things I think I remember seeing about it is a single player mode.
That's been in Forza Motorsport for years. There's always been a campaign mode in Forza Motorsport. It's the same. It's the same with Forza Horizon. Technically, Forza Horizon is single player. You don't need to play in multiplayer.
Yeah, but it's not a. To my knowledge, that one didn't have a true to form campaign mode.
Technically, just playing the game in its own thing was a campaign in itself on Horizon. But with Motorsport, you could play it on campaign. In fact, the campaign was literally the most important part of the game. The multiplayer part was just sort of like, this is a side bit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's just fun to play with people.
Instead of like, oh, it's a racing game. The game is literally to do races and such and prove how good you are at that kind of stuff. It's like there's actually going to be a campaign that like tells a story or like a true actual single player campaign.
It's giving me sort of like Formula One vibes, like with the F1 games, where it's like the whole point and the whole story is you follow a season. You start off with like a basic contract and then you start working your way up, and that's sort of the field that I feel like they're trying to go for with this. Whereas in previous campaigns, it was, hey, here's a bunch of races, just fucking drive.
That's the part that to me, that's not a campaign. That's not an actual campaign. That's just the game is racing. Go play the game. A campaign is something like it has story, it has progression, not just you unlocked a new vehicle. That's not campaign.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that it's like there is going to be a campaign mode was intriguing. Here's the other one was Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush looks awesome. I have to say, I have it ready to play when I stream next. I'll be playing Hi-Fi. The only problem is you've got to enable streamer mode because there's songs by Nine Inch Nails and stuff which are copyrighted.
Okay, that's fine. I'm still intrigued by this because it's like it's an action game that is rhythm. It's a rhythm action game that doesn't require you to follow the rhythm. Just it goes better if you do. Which that concept intrigued me. I was like, huh. Also, the fact of the studio it came from is the same people who did The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo, which are all like horror games, and it's like this is nowhere near that. So it's like, huh. The studio's trying a new thing, and it's an interesting concept. I'm intrigued. I don't know if it's something I can play because if it's a VR thing, I'm screwed.
Oh, it's no VR. It's gonna be. You're gonna be able to play it. It's available. Funnily enough, all the games that we're talking about as well are all available on Xbox Game Pass. So you'll be able to play them day one release as well. So Forza Motorsport is going to be one of those good ones. Yeah, Hi-Fi is already out. I know they made a big deal of saying that it was going to be it was going to be you could either buy it and get some additional stuff and it was available straight away on Game Pass as well, sort of within a few hours of the conference.
Yep. Another thing they also did, this was also another interesting one they did that intrigued me a little bit, is Elder Scrolls Online was coming to Xbox Game Pass, and because of that, with the release of their newest set titled Necron, Xbox is making all previous chapters and DLCs free to play for a limited time. So, like, if you missed it out and you want to go, like, I want to go play the beginning of this. I want to go play, like, Chapter 0, Chapter 1. You can go and do that and do a full playthrough to try out and, like, what did I miss in the storyline? Because I'm starting late. I don't want to have to buy 20 chapters worth to understand some of the story and lore stuff that's happening now.
Yeah.
You can actually go in and just play through the whole thing. That way, also, since it's all free to play, you can actually try it out to see if you like it before you even pay money for it.
It's an interesting one, and I do like that. And like I said, with the fact that it's on Game Pass as well, is that's definitely a big thumbs up. The fact that it's they've worked with Microsoft on trying to make sure that it's available on the platform.
Yep.
Like instantly, it's definitely got to have the Microsoft approval before it goes on that platform.
Yeah, well, Microsoft approval ain't necessarily, but that's a separate thing.
Anyway, there was another couple of announcements as well, wasn't there?
Redfall.
Yes.
Redfall looked interesting. I hadn't heard anything about it till I started looking into it a little bit. It's both single player and co-op multiplayer modes. It looks like it's a horror survival setting almost, as the feel I'm getting from looking at this. Release date is scheduled for May, it looks like. It is listed as an open world first person shooter from the makers of Prey and Dishonored, which is Arcane Studios. Let me see. Genre: action horror shooter, first person, open world. Available for Xbox XS and PC. That one looked kind of interesting.
Definitely looks interesting. It's probably one that I'm probably going to play a little bit offline, see how it feels.
Graphics look the graphics look interesting. A lot of the stuff looks fairly accurate. Like, I'm a detail-oriented person, so there are certain things I look at the details on. I'm like, all right, did they just ad-lib and just skimp on this, or did they actually work to try to get some of the details right on some of these things? And just some of the screenshots alone tells me they put effort into getting not just like animations and all that, but a lot of the detail work is really there. Which I like. Also, one of these screenshots shows a gas station at like gas at $3.19 a gallon, and I'm like, that's accurate. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
Concept art also looks interesting.
Right. I think, is that everything down to do with the Developer Direct conference?
Unless somebody's got something I missed.
I don't think so. I think you've covered everything there. The only thing that I would add is, again, all of those titles are available on Xbox Game Pass. They've all got a date of 2023. There are apparently going to be more Developer Directs in the future. Like smaller things. We're unknown yet on what's happening in terms of E3. As far as E3 is concerned, they've announced that there's supposedly going to be dates. But then again, last year they also turned around and said that 2021 was apparently going to be their last year doing one. So who knows what's happening there yet? But they've turned around and said that apparently there are going to be dates in 2023. But I think it's going to be like CES, where it's a lot more cut down. Because CES this year wasn't as big as what it was pre-pandemic.
I mean, at this point, everything should be back to where it was, but a lot of it they're just not, which is kind of weird.
Blink twice or I kill you. Sorry, I'm just going with dude's comment. Jordan, look directly at the camera. If those two are holding you hostage, blink once. If you like it, blink twice. Just remember, I know where you live, and I can easily come around with a gun. It might not be one that does severe damage, but it'll be a gun regardless. So please,
I've got
blink
a Nerf
twice.
gun around here somewhere.
I did blink twice. Don't you worry.
Oh, good. But yeah,
Now,
I think
before we go too much further, bullshit. I am going to ask a question of this for you, Costin.
Okay.
We are running close to time. Do we
Mhm.
want to just turn, because we had planned on doing like tech layoffs and some other topics.
That's going to be a quick thing anyway. We can blast through that
Well, I was
pretty
gonna say,
quick.
do we want to just, since literally we're like 12 minutes till time, did we want to just hold that one and like do that as a mini? Because we could potentially go a little bit more in depth on that one, or we can just go,
I don't
hey,
think we need to go so much in depth with them because I'll be honest, the layoffs, a lot of it at the minute is it's just announcements and some numbers that are being done. There's a few excuses going around, but it's like I don't really think it's one that's enough for like a mini or something where we can go in a bit too much more depth. Because like I say, it's all we can go by is what information's gone public, like numbers, the supposed reason, and that I don't think it's
I've
worth
also been
covering
hearing
it
some
for an
stuff
hour.
on the side about some things as to things happening as to why some of it's happening that they're not necessarily publicly stating.
Well, APOG, we got about 10 minutes. Do we want to try and see if we can blast through it in these 10 minutes? If we go over a little bit, or do you want to? What do you think?
You can try and blast through it. It's only if we go over by just a tiny bit, it's not the end of the world. Just if it's like 10, 20, 30, then it's just that's when I'll be like,
we're gonna keep going for another 2 hours.
Oh, please. No! Oh! Please, just move it. Thank you. Jeez.
It's fine.
Anyway, January 4th, Amazon confirmed more than 18,000 employees to be laid off. In blah, blah, blah. Bulk of the job cuts coming later this month. Apparently meant to amount to about 20,000 people, all levels. The job cuts will be affecting Amazon stores, people experiencing technology organizations. According to a note from the CEO, Andy Jassy, the layoffs are a result of the uncertain economy. He also said that Amazon had hired rapidly over the last several years, but announced that the layoffs will help the company pursue more long-term opportunities with a stronger cost structure. Is that a valid excuse, do you think, or not?
No, because Amazon is still making... People are still using the Amazon services. More people are starting to switch over to like Amazon Web Services and such. I've known a few companies that are actually switching over to that in the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
Amazon, like literally the Amazon warehouse, not 10, 15 miles from my house, is still hiring.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to call bull on their reasoning. But Amazon's not the only one dropping people.
Oh, they're not. For example, January 4th, Salesforce to cut 8,000 in restructuring plan. At the beginning of 2023, San Francisco-based Salesforce announced it will lay off about 10% of its workforce, roughly around 8,000 employees, and close some offices as part of a restructuring plan. In a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the company disclosed that its restructuring plans calls for charges between $1.4 billion and $2.1 billion, respectively, with up to $1 billion of those costs being shouldered by the company in the fourth quarter of 2023. In a letter sent by the Salesforce co-CEO and attached to the SEC filing, he told employees that as Salesforce's revenue accelerated through the pandemic, the company overhired and can no longer sustain its current workforce size due to the ongoing economic downturn. I take responsibility for that, the co-CEO said. You know what? Good on him for turning around and saying that it was his responsibility.
Good on him for admitting that. I still think, depending on who all they're laying off, it's a mistake. Because Salesforce does work. As someone who used it for almost a year and a half as part of my last job, we were using Salesforce.
Yeah.
If they had the leeway of like, okay, we need to start slashing people because we don't have the work for them or something like that. The one section they should not be losing is their developers, their tech people. Because I can tell you right now, there are glitches and problems in Salesforce that at the company I worked for, we reported. They never fixed. They told us they couldn't fix them. If you've got the staffing, but you don't have work for them, dude, use it to clean and tune your product to be even better so that you can beat out your competition. There's a lot you can do, but it seems they're not. I mean, I've got an article here. It's older. It's from a couple of months ago, but Meta laying off over 11,000 people.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. Meta laying off 11,000 employees in early November, reducing its workforce by 13%.
Yeah, nearly 3 times the Twitter layoff was another estimate of what it was. So it was like, yeah, Twitter laid people off. Meta's dropping 11,000 staff. Salesforce is dropping.
We've got Informatica to lay off 7% of their workforce in the first quarter of 2023.
This is all over. All the major tech are
again
dropping.
Turning around and claiming that it's down to overhiring and then not being able to afford it. January 12th, Alphabet owned Verily. If you don't know what Alphabet is Google's parent company. Verily are cutting 15% of the workforce.
Microsoft's also dropping people.
Verily are turning around and saying they're cutting 15% due to downsizing as part of the company's One Verily program, which aims to reduce redundancy and simplify operational aspects within the company. Basically, they're hoping to move from multiple lines of business to one centralized product.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting one on the Microsoft side.
I was just going to say 10,000 was announced on January 18th.
Yeah. Do you know the other thing that Microsoft announced? Almost at around the same time.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't recall. Can't recall completely.
10 billion into OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT.
Yeah. ChatGPT. That was another topic we were going to cover, but we'll cover that again in a separate thing because I think ChatGPT is going to grow massively over the next month.
ChatGPT is already cursed, but we're going to leave that separate.
Yeah, we'll leave that for next month's topics. But yeah,
we could actually do a mini just on that alone.
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella confirms plans to lay off 10,000 workers. The chief executive chalked up the downsizing maneuver to aligning its cost structure with its revenue structure while investing in areas that the company predicts will show long-term growth. The Seattle-based tech giant reported its slow growth in 5 years for the first quarter of its fiscal 2023, due largely to a strong US dollar and an ongoing decline in PC sales, causing net income to fall by 14% to $17.56 billion from this time last year. Rising cloud revenue helped to soften Microsoft's growth slowdown. Google also announced on January 20th, so 8 days ago, that it's cutting 12,000 jobs, around 6% of its global workforce. This comes after Alphabet posted lower than expected numbers for its third financial quarter. So again, down to Alphabet, the parent company, not actually down to Google. Obviously, there's a whole ton. Apple, here's actually an interesting one I just saw. Let me just bring it back up again.
Another thing, an interesting thing I heard on this, most of the people getting laid off are not the pandemic hires.
Yeah.
They're older staff members who are making higher salaries. So
just to quickly
cut cost, not cut bloat.
Yeah. Quickly, just to touch on the whole Apple thing. Apple have made an announcement that with over 68,000 tech workers downsized in 2023 so far alone, Apple employees have so far been unable to avoid the axe. They've made the announcement that they are not going to be making any layoffs anytime soon, even though its share price has fallen 27% in the last year. It was announced in January that CEO Tim Cook would actually take a pay cut in order to cover the lost revenue.
That's pretty smart, considering the standard practice is, we have this guy who's been working for us for a year. We're paying him $40K. This guy's been with us 10 years. We're paying him $120K. Well, shit, we can fire that $120K guy and it covers the payment of 3 of these guys. Let's get rid of him.
So it says here, unlike his big tech counterparts, Cook didn't aggressively hire during the pandemic.
That's another thing also.
But the pay cut that he's taking a 40% dock in pay, almost half. He has gone down from $84 million in compensation for the year of 2022 for his annual compensation for 2023 going down to $49 million.
84 to 49. Damn,
Yeah.
That's a hell of a cut. Credit to him. Now,
It is.
Now, I'll have other doubts, but the fact they didn't rapid hire, he is taking a cut. That is, apparently saw the long-term plan, and they are sticking with it instead of, oh, short-term, big demand, hire more people to cover the big demand. Oh, demand dropped.
What I love here the most on this, because this comes from Forbes.com, so a reputable source. Although Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai and Meta chief executive Mark Zuckerberg took public accountability for their purported missteps that led to the respective layoffs, neither volunteered to slash their compensation to correct their wrongs. Instead, their employees bear the brunt of job losses when they aren't responsible for the executive decisions of the company. It's genuinely it's ridiculous.
My fault, but I'm not going to take any steps to fix it on my behalf. I'm just going to fire people.
It says here, compared to the other big tech companies, Apple scaled its workforce at a relatively slow pace and generally followed the same hiring rate since 2016. While there was a hiring surge in Silicon Valley during the pandemic, Apple added less than 7,000 jobs in 2020. In September 2022, it was reported that the company employed 164,000 full-time workers in both its corporate and retail divisions. In August, the iPhone maker let go of 100 contract recruiters. So they basically let go recruiters and not their actual employees. So they just let go of the companies that they basically had working with them.
So
Which isn't fucking bad going.
But like
for once,
Apple
are the good guys.
10,000.
That's all I can say. For once, Apple are the good guys.
Right?
That never happens.
I know it's rather weird, actually.
Actually, I could just credit to that one them planning long term. Because if you think about it, short term gains will be followed by a short term loss.
Oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
If you spike up, it's going to come back down and level off. So Apple probably saw the writing on the wall of like, this is going to be a short term spike. Once everything's over, people are going to be back out to normal. And then it will come back down. It will level off. Probably higher than it was before, but it will level off. The others weren't paying attention to that. They just saw the short-term profit. It's like, ooh, let's maximize this. And now it's biting them in the ass.
All right, then. To continue with tradition, this comes to the end of our very first Nerdz Discuss, or Season 3 of our podcast as a whole. It's been a very good, lengthy discussion. I've enjoyed it. I hope you both. I know I've learned a couple of things this episode. I hope you've both learned something this time around as well.
No.
This is part of why we do this. We all have different areas of interest, and now we share them all.
But before we do go, we've got
how much cost it though. We need to let Jordan talk more.
But to what we normally do normally we do it halfway through, but I think we'll start doing it towards the end before we end the screen. End. We have a nice little tradition that we do on the show. We have sponsors, not sponsors. It's always a nice little fun segment. I do like this part. We'll start off because Jordan, I think you normally start us off, so I'll cut you some slack for fucking once.
Fucking fine.
And we'll go, APOC, what's your sponsor? No, I'm kidding. Redneck, what's your sponsor, not sponsor this week?
We
didn't have time to plan.
No, I didn't know we were doing this. Like, what's your sponsor, not sponsor?
It's a tradition, bro.
We gotta.
I mean, it is, but yeah. Okay, we're gonna throw this a little old school. Pencils. When you need to write something down or stab somebody in the arm, they work very well.
Nice. I like that one. That one's a good one. I'll go next. I'll let you go last for once, APOC.
Oh,
my sponsor, not sponsor this week, building on Redneck's, is the S Pen. It does everything that a pencil can except write on normal paper because, we're all heathens. Gotta write on a phone. Yeah, we'll go with that. You can also stab people with it, like with a pencil.
Not as effectively. It's a little flimsier.
Yeah. APOC, yours, Spencer.
Well, I had something different, but I'll keep with the theme. A real fucking pen. When you don't want to be a bougie cunt, and when you actually want to write, but like back in the day on real paper, and
don't want to be a bougie cunt. Hey, APOC, what phone did you get on your contract?
You can wait. I'll get to that. You can also stab people with it and give them ink poisoning to inflict additional damage.
Heck yeah!
Additional damage, poison damage.
I definitely don't have the exact same phone that has the exact same bougie pen at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
How often do you actually use your S Pen though?
I've used it a couple of times, not as often as probably you do, but I have used it.
Mine's not as bougie. Mine doesn't have that.
It is useful. It is really useful to have it, especially when it's like quick annotating on something or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's get typing with them fingers. Get tapping.
But yeah, I guess that's it for this episode of Nerdz Discuss. We have discussed CES 2023. Redneck?
We also went over Hogwarts Legacy. Tag your head.
Yay. We went over the stuff that was announced for the Xbox stuff. There's my tidbit. There you go. You're welcome.
And we also briefly covered business layoffs. I've been DJ Costin.
I'm Redneck Alcatraz.
I'm Apocalyptic.
And thank you very much for watching this, the very first episode of Nerdz Discuss. I almost said Tech Talks again. Because I'm an idiot.
No.
And that one wasn't on purpose.
We'll see you again next month for the next scheduled episode. It'll be the last Saturday of February. That'll be the 25th of February for those who are watching. Same bad time, same bad channels. But yeah, once again, we'll see you next time, and keep your eyes out on the Nerdz Discuss Discord and Twitter as well to find out if we're doing any impromptu episodes as well for any minis, etc. Which is
I've got one
cool
I
thing.
want to do. I think one of you two had another one you were planning to do. Although we may, we'll have to probably do the Chat GPT bot as its own thing, just because it's hilarious.
But yeah. But now, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you in about a month's time together.
All next time.
Bye. Okay.